So many of you know that actually getting your ring size is a pain and getting the right ring size is really difficult. So it's a quick video just to give you some help. We have a mess basically, or the jewelry industry is in a state of disarray or fragmentation about how to best get ring sizes and how to provide them. We're at a point where, like in the UK, you can get a J.5, like a letter and then a fraction. It's just properly bizarre. We want to work in millimeters, and that means that as you go up or down sizes, you can do it more accurately to make sure you get the best fit. However, there is a lot of factors that give you the best fit. So first things first is basically wearing rings for newbies. If this is the first ring you've worn before, then be prepared that it's going to be a strange experience. So the NFC ring was the first ring I'd ever worn before as well. I've just got to a point where I wear this one like constantly, which is the normal. What you're going to have at first is it's going to feel tight, or it's going to feel bizarre and weird, and it might be that you've got the wrong fitment, but the likelihood is that you're just not used to wearing rings. There's going to be some issues where it's going to take a few weeks until it finally feels right. And what I will say is that when you're doing stuff like sweating, or when you're doing stuff like after activity, or when you're really warm, it'll feel even tighter there. So if it feels tight when you're cold, like super tight, you should. I mean, like I can just about spin this one, and I'm medium. If I was any warmer, then it'd be more difficult to spin it, but it's in the right place for me. So this is why it's so important that you get the right measurement. The deviation that or the tolerance that is the difference between a good and a bad fit is about 0.4 mil. If you're out by 0.4 mil, which is on the inner diameter, which is where our reference point, then it'll be uncomfortable to wear. So try to get the right size on that. But throughout the day, your finger size does change. If you're doing stuff like, if you go swimming in a cold pool or whatever, your hand's going to shrink right up, and just be careful with your ring there. This is the same across all rings, so this isn't just the NFC ring, this is across the board, and so that's why I'm addressing the people that first, this is your first ring, so I'm addressing you first, so you're just aware, so you don't lose it, and so you're aware there will be a little bit of discomfort at first. I say discomfort, it's just get used to it, basically. It takes a little while. So how to get it right? Use a wideband gauge tool. Jewelers should have one. If they don't, then maybe go to another jeweler. If you can't access a wideband gauge tool, then use a normal gauge tool and try and add about 0.4 mil to the inner diameter. So they'll measure your finger and they'll tell you the size in whatever, US, UK, blah blah blah. Just add 0.4, it should be alright. Alpha rings, you probably want to add about 0.8 because of the surface area. As a general rule of thumb, always if you go into a jeweler's and he says, well you're close to a 12.5, you're a bit over 12.5, always go up to 13, because if you go down, you'll be knackered. Make sure obviously that you're testing everything going over your knuckles, because if you buy a ring that fits perfectly on your finger but you can't get it over a knuckle, that'd be difficult. And if you do, and all of our rings are comfort fit, so they should slide on and off easier, and the normal's less so because there's less of radius on the comfort fit, but still should be good with that. And you should know when to get your measurement, and that's when your hand is warm, you've been doing some sort of physical activity, such as you've been carrying shopping, or something like that, and you want the blood flowing to your hands. I mean, if you do, if you do this for like a couple of minutes, you'll feel your hands will start getting warmer, and if you put a ring on, especially when you do it, you'll definitely feel the difference, and it makes a difference of about 0.7, 0.8 in deviation between a cold hand and a warm hand, so it's quite substantial. Do not get your hand measurement when you've just been swimming or when you're cold. And it might be that, depending on your lifestyle, if you're a type of person that goes from hot to cold environments quite a lot, then you might choose to get a summer and a winter ring. It depends on how you manage your life. For me, I'm usually cold all year round, and I'm kind of alright with that. So yeah. So the deviation change, like we talked about before. This is on a standard day, it'll go from a deviation of 0.7, so you might start off at 21, but by the end of the day, or halfway through the day, you might be at 21.7 mil, and then back down. So it's important that you get the right size that obviously caters for the top end of that. If you get one that's 21mm and then halfway through the day your finger's at 21.7, or when you're at the warmest at 21.7, you'll really feel that constriction on your finger, and that's not a nice feel. So yeah, blood flow can affect it, the temperature can affect it, and obviously your body mass index. If you start putting on a bunch of extra ballast on your fingers, then you probably will find an issue where your ring will start getting tight. And you see it on people. Maybe people have bought a ring when they're younger and they've grown into it, and literally they've started to grow around their ring. Well, I just be careful doing that, because it's not going to be. It's not, firstly, it's not really a good look, but secondly, it's not really good for your health. If it gets to a point where you're not able to set that ring off anymore, then that can be a real challenge. So if you do find that your body mass starts increasing around the ring, then maybe just get another ring and a size up. And for the price of the rings, just get another ring. It's like a no-brainer. So different fits. You've got this comfort fit, which has got a radius at the bottom. All of the NFC rings are a comfort fit. We could do standard fits, but we just found that they weren't as great. And then the next thing is the depth of the ring. So this is the alpha depth, and this is a normal depth. So you can, if I put them next to each other, you can see there's a big old difference. I think one's 12 and another one's 7 or something. The great thing about this depth is, where you see where I wear it here is right up near the top, and that's because it kind of fits into this like groove that I've got on my finger. If you see, if I try to pull it past that, it doesn't really go. So I've got a perfect groove for this size of ring. It fits my hand really well. I'd recommend, if you can, if you're wearing the normal, to try and get it in that groove. And the advantage of that is that it's really hard to lose it. I can take it off if I really want, but it's really comfortable there. And if I go swimming or whatever, I'm not going to lose it. So yeah, try and get it into that groove. If you're reading through the blog, then you'll see why. There is a disadvantage, however, of this location. So normally, if you're wearing like I've got an alpha and it's there, and normally if I'm doing something like that, I can get the alpha like flush right onto the back. Whereas if let's get that alpha off my finger. Whereas if I'm using a normal ring and on the middle finger, you'll see that actually getting correct location, it's a bit more difficult because of the shape of the hand and because it's set in, and I've got like massive calluses because I'm a drummer, so be mindful of that as well. And the way that we're thinking about counteracting this, or the way that we're thinking about not making this problem any worse, is by leaving this ring thickness at 2.3mm. So that's what it is at the moment, 2.3mm, and we can reduce it down to 1.75 or 1.5, but there's a disadvantage of that, of where you'll be even further away from the target device. So we're just trying to find the right compromise on that. We can make the ring thinner, but it makes it more difficult to create a good surface contact, we'll call it, with the target device, which is a phone or a door lock or whatever. And the other option, of course, is that we create like a ring that's got a thicker base. Well, I'm not sure on that. We'll be discussing. We'll look into that, and we'll think about it. So the next thing is, as you can see on the alpha, there is a radius to this outer edge. So up here, this is a radius, whereas on the normal ring, it's quite abrupt. It looks like there's no radius at all. There is actually a radius of sorts, a very, very small radius, probably like, I don't know, 1/10 of a mil or something. Depending on how you feel about stuff. So if you go like this, how do I do it? There's a way with the normal, like if I do that, for example, and scratch my chin, I don't know why I'd want to do that, but if you do that, you can really feel the abrupt radius, whereas if you do the same thing with an alpha, it's really, you can't even feel it. And that's just because, again, the normal is thicker, and it has more abrupt radius, that's so that it can be thinner across that way. So it's thicker in height, but it's less wide. So this is the width, and this is the thickness. And the alpha is less thick but wider, and because it's wider and less thick, we're able to create a softer radius compared to the normal, and it just makes it a little. Just if you're the type of person that scratches your face a lot, you'll probably want a thinner radius. Also, if you're working with I don't know, maybe like sheet glass or something like that, and you want to make sure you don't catch it on anything. The normal is a little bit, and by a little bit I mean like not even a mil, like 20th of a mil or something like tiny, but still depends on your lifestyle. You've got to make sure that it suits your lifestyle. So that's everything you need to know about what you need to know. But there are some proposals for some solutions in the future that we are working on. Excuse me. So there are a few things. So firstly is we've written some software that uses a webcam to get your finger measurement. And basically we've written it and we've realised that the technology is not there yet, especially if you're using anything less than like a 720p camera. We probably need to do like another 6 months just on the software dev, but we need the cameras on people's laptops and phones and computers to pick up to a point where maybe we're at like 1080p or 1080H, so HD. And that means that we can use a reference point. So if you've got a ring held up to a really strong reference point, say a credit card or whatever, that'll be a more accurate picture, which means we can get a more accurate measurement. There's other challenges as well on that, but it just gives us like this interesting way of potentially solving that problem. Yeah, we're looking at using high resolution 3D scanners, so that you could just put your hand in like a bay and it'll scan all the fingers and figure out which size. Another option to that is to use like a Kinect style, 2 cameras pointing at it. We're not sure how we're going to take that, where we're going to take it, but yeah, we know that if we do a bunch of like hard cascade classifiers, we can figure out which finger it is and then figure out the depth and the perfect location for a finger and map a finger onto the hand digitally so you can see it on the computer, and that'll give you the optimum place and the optimum size of ring to get, and which finger is best to wear it on, and you should be able to like select between, and it'll tell you, right, this size, this finger you need a 17, this finger you need a 18.4, whatever. And then there's another option that we're looking at, and these are all very like blue sky, and that's that we create a ring that is able to be that actually resizes around the human hand. So you put this ring on, and it is able to expand and contract up to say maybe a millimeter on the inner diameter. So the advantage would be that it'd be more comfortable throughout the day when you do physical activities. You wouldn't feel that extra grab. We'd be able to reduce some of the metals in the ring in theory if we were to use a different material. And there's a bunch of other stuff, and we could share that with everybody else as well. So the whole market could benefit from that. We've not even started R&D or prototype on that. It's purely just an idea of a way of solving the problem of ill-fitting rings. But hopefully this video has given you some insight about what we're working on, how we're going about solving the problem, and given you information about how to get your ring measurement, how to make sure your ring measurement's right, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to fix this problem at some point in the future. Pow!